I'm Joe Normal, and you're watching Guitar Tales with Dave Cohen and Scott Guitarmas Asengo. Have a rockin' day.
You know, some people do Netflix and chill. We do Guitar Tales and chill. We have a great show tonight. I know that already because I'll just be hanging out with Scott. We're going to be talking about concerts, our life experience at concerts. So much fun. It'll be great. Our co-host, our publicist extraordinary, Scott Guitarmas Stengel, will be joining us in a minute. But before, I could think of mine right away, the best concert I ever saw. I know what it is. A hint, it's Alan White. In any event, before that, we got to pay the bills. So let's talk about our sponsors, our amazing sponsors. Confections of a Rock Star. It is still beautiful, warm, and lovely in Asbury Park. Go take a look. It's like going to a museum, except there's great food and rock and roll. It's absolutely fantastic. I've had it. My dog has had it. Why has my dog had it? Because of cupcakes. Really yummy, really fun. Run by a musician. You can't beat that. Not by Alice Cooper, but by a drummer musician who knows all the famous musicians. Right on Cookman Avenue in the middle of Asbury Park. The town keeps getting better and better. And our other sponsor, there we go. Some of the best burgers in Asbury Park. Little Andy's. Look how good that looks. They started out inside of Confections of a Rock Star. Now they've grown. They have their own space right nearby on Cookman Avenue. Absolutely delicious. And now let's bring in the greatest publicist in the history of publicists, the greatest co-host in the history of co-hosts.
What?
And a mediocre guitar player.
Speaking of guitar playing, I'm going to be back with the Smoker Jackets practicing for one massive Halloween show. And that guitar back there, that one, which has a Frankenstein poster on it. Not the Eddie Franken.
That's why I was confused when we were chatting.
And Steve Rosen's beautiful book is also back there. Thank you, Steve. I've been chatting a lot with Steve and helping Steve out on a couple of things to navigate the world of the internet.
Yes, you're very good at that.
World Wide Web. That crazy thing, as Brian Mackey would say. Hey, this is going to be a fun show.
It is. It is. So sort of, I think what put it in your brain is that you and I were chatting. I just flew out to L.A., now you say, and boy, were my arms tired, to see the Who. It was, right. And I was pleasantly surprised. I had very low expectations, and they were wonderful.
Why is that? They're old?
Because they're older than dirt, and they fired Ringo's son, Zach Starkey.
Yeah.
The new drummer is wonderful. I love him. He's not Keith Moon. He's not even like Keith Moon.
Does he play like Keith, or does he do his own?
He's just a great drummer. He's just a great drummer. But what I noticed is that the drumming was tight, it was strong, and it was just the right level of loud. It was nothing like Keith Moon. It wasn't manic. It was just good, solid drumming with a really good backup.
Does that affect the quality of a Who song? I mean, you're kind of used to having that maniacal drumming going on.
Yeah, I think so. I first saw the Who in '79. We're not going to see that kind of Who. We haven't seen that kind of Who in decades. So the last few times I've seen the Who, it's just studio musicians or touring musicians playing in the background. So the last handful of times I've seen them, I've never had this expectation that even I love Kenny Jones. Yeah. He's not Keith Moon. He's just a good, tight, solid rock and roll drummer. So I wasn't missing that. I wasn't wanting that. And really, Keith died in, I think, 78. I'm 14 years old. You're 14 years old at the time. So you and I, at least live, as even teenagers, let alone adults, we never got to see that anyway. So for me, the live experience was never that. I will say that as much as I love Pete on guitar, his leads, he kept missing, and I loved it. I mean, he would fumble around the neck. Things were all wrong. And it was still wonderful.
I think when you're at that level and that age and you have this legacy behind you, I mean, some will say, I mean, and it's really bad for some of the singers, right? You know, they come out there and they hack away at some of the material, and it doesn't sound really great. And there's a lot of isolated vocals of, I don't know, name your
Roth.
poison,
Yeah.
Roth, David Lee Roth, or isolated vocal of Axl Rose or
Or
whoever.
Vince Neil.
Or Vince Neil, yeah, famously Vince Neil sounding like shit. You know, but when you, but the fans, you know, they just want to see the guy. They don't care if he's
Yeah.
like he lost a little off the speedball.
Yeah. And, speaking of that, I just read the other day, and I know Sammy spends a ton of time horribly, appropriately mocking David. But he actually said nice things about him.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? He had a great style. He's out there. He's enjoying himself. Like, he said all the right stuff. And I know in the next interview, he's just going to diss him again, because there's so much bad
Well,
blood
that's
between
what
those
goes on
guys.
with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, on our show, Ace did it.
They're two completely different artists, right? And,
Yeah.
and we're going to talk about that tonight because on my list is a Van Halen show I saw.
Ooh. Now,
One of the
I
best.
saw a Van Hagar show. I've never seen a Van Halen show.
No, it was a Van Hagar show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how do you want to do the format for tonight?
Well, we'll just trade off. We'll trade
Okay.
off stories. I got a lot of stories.
Well, mine are chronologic. So if you want, I'll start and then you jump in. I think you're going to have a higher quantity, and that's cool.
Yeah, what I have to say about my list is I don't really remember exactly what the dates are. And if you want to find that shit out, go to the World Wide Web.
Yeah, right. So the year for me is 1978. We hopped on. I went with Gail Rosencrown from Freehold, and we hopped on the Mattawan train after spending $1 for a joint. At age 14,
You purchased the joint in Mattawan somehow?
At age 14.
Wow.
And on the train, all I could say is that the conductors were participating.
Really?
Yes. And I end up,
That would go on these days, that's for sure.
Yeah, we end up in New York, Madison Square Garden. So, now, the funny thing is, I will say this, and we can keep this. I'm laughing because we're splicing the hell out of this because I have two fighting dogs at my feet right now, and poor Scott has to edit it out.
My dogs are upstairs, quiet as a mouse.
Yeah, but not these two. They're actually fighting, literally having a fist fight right now with their teeth. So in any event, 1978, hop on the train from Mattawan to Madison Square Garden.
Is this doable?
Yeah, it is.
10 seconds later.
So 1978, we're hopping on the train. There's all sorts of interesting stuff going on, and the conductors are participating.
Yes.
So we get to Madison Square Garden. You know this because you knew me when I was 14. I looked like I was 11.
Yes.
I walked into Gus's.
And fabulous hair, by the way. Fabulous hair.
You can't even believe that, but it's true. And I walk into a place called Gus's Bar, which is adjacent to Madison Square Garden, and bought a 6-pack at age 14. They didn't even ask for ID.
No.
No.
You don't need that.
So the concert was Yes in the Round. And for those folks who know how to use Al Gore's World Wide Web, it was Alan White's birthday because they announced it. And I remember that. So it was a fabulous concert. And I was already a big Yes fan by then, but I had never heard Mood for a Day.
So this is basically the original lineup. This isn't the 80s version of Yes that I saw, which...
Right, not I saw them with Trevor. This was not Trevor.
Yeah, I saw the Trevor Rabin show at the height of their 80s popularity with Owner of Lone at Heart and all that stuff. And it was great. But
right.
They were doing covers of Yes songs with a totally different lineup. Even the keyboard guy was different. It was I forget the dude's name, but it wasn't the cape wearing.
Right, Rick Wakeman.
Wakeman, yeah.
And I don't know this, and I've looked it up before. I think it was Bill Bruford and Alan White. I think they had two drummers, if I remember.
Oh wow,
correctly.
They had everybody there, huh?
Yeah. And it's not, I'm sorry, not, I knew Mood for a Day, but he played the clap, which I never heard. And I just flipped out over it. It was a great crowd. And to me, I think what I experienced on that day in 1978, I can't believe my parents let me go at age 14 alone into the city with a fellow 14-year-old on a train, but we did. I think that was the 60s. I mean, culturally, I think that the vibe of it was the 60s. The smoke-filled Madison Square Garden was the 60s. The music, most of what they were playing was either 60s or early to mid 70s music. But it was such an amazing experience, and in the round apparently is a big deal. And for those folks who don't know what it is, it's sort of self-explanatory. They're just on a stage that's like a Lazy Susan kind of thing, and it was wonderful. And it was, to me, that was my real introduction to rock concerts. And you're going with, the entire train was just concert goers.
Right.
So the train ride was a huge part of the experience.
Yeah. Well, my parents would never let me go to a concert at 14, let alone on a train to New York City to Madison Square Garden, the greatest stage in the world.
It really is.
However, my first concert was at the PNC Bank Art Center, which in those days was called the Garden State Art Center.
Yes.
And we got great seats, and my parents came with me
Right.
to see Chicago.
Ooh.
Now, this is my very first concert experience. So we went to see Chicago, and I was very excited because being a drummer then, I was really into the Chicago thing, playing along the records and so on.
Right.
So I was really excited to see him in person. Now, this lineup didn't have Terry Kath. Terry was already gone by then, but it still had Peter Cetera singing vocals.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they did some of their early 80s stuff, a lot of their old stuff. And I was just blown away with the horns and the light show and the level of musicianship and, and just singing all those. They have so many hits. It's like,
it's ridiculous.
There were no sleepers. Like every song was like a huge hit, right?
Yeah.
And, Danny Serpentine was still on the drums. And it was pretty much the old lineup without Terry because he had already passed away. So that was, because a lot of time, you see these bands now and
they're not the band anymore.
Are the real guys, and the rest of them are a bunch of villains.
Or none of them are.
Yeah.
And they just they had the right lawyers, and they were able to keep the name.
It's important to mention when you go to see these shows, what lineup are you seeing? That plays a big part in what kind of an experience you're going to have.
Well, even like when I just saw the Who, I mean, it was Roger and Pete from the Who,
right,
permitted to and playing the Who songs, but last I heard, Entwistle and Moon were kind of important, they might have had something to do with it.
I remember I was all excited. I was going to go see ELP up in New England somewhere.
Yeah.
And Yngwie Malmsteen was supposed to open, and he I don't know what happened. He never showed up.
Right.
Because he was, the way he was in those days.
I don't actually. Tell me, I don't.
He may or may not show up. He was a legend in his own mind, and he was a legend in everybody's mind. But he had that kind of clout of like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not coming, And then that was that. And then ELP comes on, and it's not Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
Oh no,
it's Emerson, Lake and Powell.
I remember that.
They had Cozy Powell on the drums, and I was so disappointed. Like, in those days, you're buying a ticket for ELP.
It's almost $12 back.
You don't know the backstory that they kicked Carl Palmer out of the band, or they're fighting, whatever the hell it is. And Cozy Powell was good, but it wasn't the original guys, and there's only three guys. Right?
I know. That's not the band anymore.
You're hoping they could at least get the three guys. Right?
Like if Geddy and Alex go out there with like Dave Grohl or someone, they can't really call themselves Rush.
It's hard to duplicate the energy of a Rush show.
Yeah.
And, I didn't put Rush on my list per se, but I did see a lot of Rush shows.
I never saw a Rush show, and I'm disappointed.
You're just sitting there in amazement of the quality of the playing and so on.
Yeah.
Show-wise, it was like they're playing their hits and they were there. You know what I mean? There was nothing. They're not jump around, run around guys.
No, that's like I saw Squeeze, and they were wonderful and horrible for that reason.
They were boring.
Yeah, as was Steely Dan.
Right.
I saw them at Jones Beach, and you wouldn't like to see that in the sense that they were amazing, but it was no different than listening to the album.
Yeah,
and I kind of like. I'm watching a lot. I know you're not a big Stones guy. I don't think you are, right?
No, I'm more of a Beatles guy.
Yeah, and I'm more of a Stones guy. And I kind of embrace their sloppiness. Right. It just adds a little something to it, Yeah,
I expect a little bit of perfection from my style of playing. And, whenever I see a band, I'm sort of giving them marks in my brain about, wow, that was really insane, But you brought up MSG, And
Right.
where we lived, I mean, that's pretty much it. You're going to go to PNC Bank Arts Center. You're going to go to MSG,
Right.
right?
That's it. Yep.
Um, I was up in college. It was Providence, Rhode Island. You would go to the Providence Civic Center.
Right.
But I never made the trip out to Long Island to see a show. I never really went to Philadelphia to see a show. Basically, it was, you hop, like you said, you hop on a train, you smoke reefer with the conductors, and you show up at MSG to see a show.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I will say this. We both have tons of concerts in our past. What I for years called the best concert I've ever seen. So I'll jump to mine. I mean, yes, for iconic reasons, is the best. I saw Elvis Costello at the Theater of Living Arts in Philly.
Hmm.
That's a little venue. It was the most moving concert at that point I had ever seen.
And that's perfect for him. He's not a big stadium guy.
No, and his voice, it's unbelievable for if you like what his voice is,
Right. Right.
But that, I saw him when I was in law school, so anywhere between 86 and 89.
Right.
I'm going to guess probably 90, or 88, I mean. But
so he had some street cred by that time, right? He had a bunch of hits in the 70s and
oh yeah,
and early 80s.
His band was outstanding. His vocals were outstanding, and it was just straight up moving. It really was.
So Billy Joel's played Madison Square Garden about a bazillion times, right? Or how many ever times it is. It's a record, right?
Yeah.
So I managed to take my wife for her birthday to Madison Square Garden to see a Billy Joel show. And I wasn't really expecting much. I mean, Billy's great and he's got a lot of hits and I'm sure it was going to be entertaining, but I mean, I was blown away.
Yeah. You forget how many songs.
Blown away.
You completely forget. That there's that many.
He's up there, he's singing his heart out, he's playing, and as a singer at my age, I go, well, I struggle with some of the notes. Not him, man. He was hitting every note and killing it. I think Howard Stern brought him out to introduce him, which was like kind of cool.
That is kind of cool.
And then we did Good Night Saigon. He brought off all these veterans to sing.
Oh wow,
that was extremely moving because you're right there where 9/11 was happening. Literally, right nearby. That was very powerful. And then just all the hits and the energy and the dude that plays saxophone for him is outstanding.
Is that David Sanborn? Is that who it is?
No. This guy's been with Billy for a number of years.
Oh, I always thought it was Sanborn. It's not.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I saw him there, I think twice. And my comment when I left was, he's a gift to us.
Yeah, he's just got so much material and energy, and the band was incredible, spot on. I mean, they're covering songs like Zanzibar, which is pretty much a jazz song.
Yeah, that really is.
There's a
the
lot
timing,
going on
yeah.
And the guy's on the horn, and he's killing it, and it's spot on, and it's just it was really one of the greatest concerts I've ever seen.
Yeah. Now, who did American Pie?
Don
McLean. Don McLean. So I always compare Billy Joel to Don McLean. We all know Don McLean's name because of that song, which is such a great, iconic song. Billy Joel did Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, or what's his biggest bit? Piano Man, right? If Billy Joel only wrote Piano Man, he would be as famous as Don McLean.
Right.
Except there's like 70 others that are as good. And that's I always say, like, Don McLean, I'm sure a great person, great musician. And then someday a muse just taps him on the shoulder and says, I'm going to give you a great song. And that same muse went up to Billy Joel. I'm going to do this like 50, 60, 70 times. And it's just amazing how many.
The other thing, too, you have to remember is Billy Joel is a New York guy.
Yeah.
And I'm in New York.
Yeah.
I'm in the greatest theater there is in the planet, Madison Square Garden, and he's doing New York State of Mind.
Oh my God,
he's doing that Miami song where he's like, hell, the concert out in Brooklyn, the place goes absolutely insane.
I play that's Miami 2017, I think, or something like that.
Year.
I think, isn't that the name of the song?
Yeah, I think something like that. I said it was Miami something. Sorry, Billy Joel fans.
Right. I have that song. I used to listen to it, on my Apple playlist. And I had a live version of it just so I could hear that line. And then I got goosebumps 100% of the.
Yeah, we played Shay. It was the same thing. People went ape shit whenever he's their hometown guy.
Yeah.
He's in their hometown theater.
Yeah.
So any reference to New York at all
Yes.
in his songs, much like Bon Jovi singing anything about New Jersey.
Yeah. It's not, or Bruce for that matter.
Correct,
You
Bruce.
know,
Yeah.
and yeah, I remember that Miami 2017 song. It's just so that line, that very line, is just
Gets the chills.
yeah. I got them right now, just referencing it.
Yeah.
That's my
So,
favorite Billy Joel song, by the
so we
way.
mentioned Bon Jovi, and you know that
Yeah.
my family's been close to the Bon Jovi clan. Well, the drummer of Bon Jovi for many moons.
Yeah.
And when we had Steve Rosen on, it kept reckoning back in my brain that my dad and Tico Torres were good friends for many years, and it was kind of a weird, relationship. The two guys that were friends, you didn't think would ever be friends.
Right. Yeah.
My father's much older than Tico, but they're both drummers, but they had the little things in common. Anyway, myself and my family included got invited to all kinds of Bon Jovi concerts over the years. But one that comes to mind is the concert right after 9/11 happened.
Ooh.
Prior to 9/11, we got backstage passes, all access. It was no problem. You could invite your friends. I could take people backstage. I took people backstage in Rhode Island, my housemates. Yeah, you're from New Jersey, Bon Jovi? Bullshit. All
Right.
right, come with me. We got Providence Civic Center to see Bon Jovi. I know this guy, I know that guy. Is Tico here? I bring him backstage, and they were like, "Hi," completely dumbfounded and
Yeah.
sticker shocked. But the show after 9/11 was very different. There was a lot of security.
Yeah.
The laminates were hard to come by. I had mine. Now, my first wife and her friend were outside the stadium, and I was to bring them in after I got inside. That wasn't happening.
Wow.
Tico himself couldn't even get another laminate for my wife.
Wow.
And boy, was she mad.
That, yeah.
So that's why I got divorced.
Good. You upgraded, my friend.
So my son and I
Yeah.
were backstage, and they brought us in on a golf cart. I'll never forget, with two men on the golf cart with me with submachine guns.
Wow.
Just us. We're nobodies. And we're on this golf cart to go back, underneath Giant Stadium it was.
Okay.
And man, there were checkpoints all over the place and guys with machine guns and dogs. It
Wow.
was crazy.
That is wild.
But the green room was the Giants dressing room, locker room.
Interesting.
And my son went to the bathroom. He goes, "Dad, there's girls in the bathroom." Really? Oh yeah, it's like it's a
Unisex.
unisex bathroom kind of a thing. But the level of girls that were like models and stuff, and I'm like, "Someday, son, you'll appreciate
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's really great.
appreciate this." But yeah, it was not a happy wife that day that she got stuck outside and I was inside with the models in the unisex bathroom.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a weird experience. But the Bon Jovi shows, uh, each one was a little bit different, and they had amazing sets. And I remember being backstage where John would pop out of the stage for the
Okay.
first song with an explosion. So we went underneath the stage. We saw the lift. We saw all the wires. Richie's guitars were down there, and the pyro guy was setting things up. And we're just walking around. Nobody gives a shit.
Oh, that's real.
But
That's
after
really
9/11, it was like, you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't do that.
yeah.
Um, and a lot of the Bon Jovi guys were friends with the Yankees organization. A lot of the Yankee players would come to the shows.
Oh, okay.
So, quick story: I'm backstage underneath Giant Stadium after the show, and there's celebrities wandering around back there, and I see David Wells, who pitched for the New York Yankees, and he pitched a no-hitter, and he was playing with the Seahawks, and he had a couple of cocktails, and we were chit-chatting about this, that, and the other, and he goes, I don't know you from anywhere, but I feel like I got to tell somebody. I'm going to tell you. And I'm like, what? He goes, I'm coming back to the Yankees.
Oh,
He
wow.
goes, nobody knows that.
That's pretty cool.
And I'm wearing a Yankee hat, but I'm a fan. But I'm like, wow, I wish I could tell somebody. He goes, in a couple of days, it'll be out in the press. And some guy comes over. And in those days, I looked like Jorge Posada from the Yankees.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of the other Yankee guys were like, I thought Posada was in his country visiting his mom because she was sick or something. What the hell is he doing here? Oh, that's Hank's son. Oh, wow, he really looks like him. So some fan comes up to Dave Wells and I while we're chatting, and he goes, "I'm sorry to bother you guys. Dave, can you just autograph this baseball? And Mr. Posada, could you autograph the baseball too?"
Oh, that's great.
So I look at Dave and I go, what do I do? He goes, fuck it, sign it.
Oh,
So
that's
we're
fantastic.
laughing. I'm like, how do you spell Jorge? Hojjor. And the guy's oblivious. So some poor Yankee fan has a David Wells autograph on his baseball and my signature
For
that says
Jorge
Jorge
Posada.
Posada spelled incorrectly.
Oh, that is a great. That's probably worth a couple of bucks.
My autographs or Dave's?
The combination.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's really good. All right, I got one. Just a piece of one. U2 at the Cap Center in Maryland. When Bono, our band with Todd, the one we did at the time in real time like 4 or 5 U2 songs. So I was a big U2 fan,
Mm.
but I had never heard Bad, and that might have just come out when we saw them. And so we're at the Cap Center, and this is when Bono started developing a God complex. And
What do you mean
so,
developing?
yeah, no, I don't think he had it in the early years.
You don't think so?
No, I think he was just like he was naive and optimistic and idealistic and positive. Like it was all like if you look at the really old videos, but this one, as they start getting notoriety, he stands at the stage and he starts singing "Come on down," that part in
Right.
"I Will Follow," and then he's yelling at all the security folks. So finally, they just had to allow just a mass of people to have better seats and crush the lower
Oh
people.
God.
And no one got hurt or anything, but he created mayhem for the poor security guards. But that being said, he created an almost religious experience because it was very peaceful.
Mm.
And his line was, "It'll be okay. Don't worry about it. They're going to be peaceful. No one's going to get hurt," like that kind of thing. And he was right because he created a vibe in the room that was not like this aggressive, like trample people. It's like, be respectful, but let's everyone come on down and get a better experience. But I know it was on some level all about him, but I'm,
The
all the
guy's
way.
name is Bono. Listen, anybody that's got a one-word name for themselves has got a
Yeah,
huge ego. Period. End of story. I don't care. You Sting, Cher,
yeah.
Bono,
Bo, my dog.
The Edge,
That's two technically.
Guitarmacist.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, but
My ego is very small.
yeah, mine too. But I mean, all the way up till I just saw them at the Sphere, about a year ago.
Right. Now let's talk about that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
A
I mean,
lot of concerts are trying to go in the Sphere. Does the Sphere take away from the
yes,
concert experience? Like you're less interested in what the
yeah,
Eagles are playing. Wow, Don Felder really nailed the Hotel California
yeah. Who
tonight
gives a
on the
shit?
double neck. You're just
Yeah.
looking at what's behind
Hmm.
Don Felder and over your head.
It's really great. It's completely the antithesis of rock and roll.
Hmm.
You're paying $500, $600, $700 a ticket,
Wow.
plus whatever it costs to get the hell out there. So already you have this well-heeled crowd. It's too civilized.
Hmm.
It's too organized. The sound is just fine, but it doesn't hurt your ears.
Hmm.
I saw U2 with Todd, and we're sitting next to each other. We were talking at this level during the concert, and we could hear each other.
Really?
And that to me is not rock and roll. So I loved it,
Hmm.
but for very different reasons. And really what it created in me is, holy shit, I want to see them in a real concert venue again.
Hmm.
Because I think I've seen them maybe 3 times. I mean, not a ton, but I love U2. They're one of my favorite bands, top almost as much as The Who. But
Some bands do well in a stadium situation. Bon Jovi had a lot of tricks up their sleeve. They had runways. John would get on a little gurney and it would fly him over the top of the audience and stuff.
yeah.
They had pyro and all that kind of stuff. A lot of visuals.
You,
There's something to be said for a smaller, cozier concert experience. Now, that brings
yeah.
me to one of my other most amazing concerts I ever saw. Steve Vai at the Starland Ballroom.
Ooh.
You know the Starland, it used to be the Hunka Bunka. It's a smaller venue. I don't know how many people it holds. Standing room, there's no seats. So talk about a concert experience. Everybody's standing.
Yeah.
The band is right there. Like
Yep.
you could almost reach out and touch them. And I brought my son, and he was completely blown away. You know, Steve is going to go down in history as one of the greatest guitar heroes of all time. I mean, let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
You know, he's if you're making a Mount Rushmore or top 10, you know, you got your Hendrix, you got your Van Halens, and I think Steve Vai belongs up in there.
Yeah. He started with Frank Zappa, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of cool Frank Zappa stories. Now with the internet, these interviews. Maybe one day we'll get to interview him.
Yeah.
And I got to meet him in person at that metal show. But the Starland, the sound and the performance and his playing and just so intimate that you're literally right there. The man is like 5 feet in front of you,
That's really cool.
you know? And we were just blown away. Just the level of musicianship of those guys. All of them.
And I do like a smaller.
Past Guitar Tales guest Dave Weiner was playing guitar, playing alongside him and just playing all these crazy licks. I'm like, who is that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's forever ago. Do you realize we're almost 7 years old, our show?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
crazy.
Hey, everybody. Like and subscribe. Hit the like button.
That's right. You know, I don't know why I just thought of it. I mean, you and I must have like 1,000 attendee concerts between us, but I went about 5 times to the Garden State Arts Center long before it was PNC and saw George Benson. And that was special because every single person there was there every year to see him.
Yeah.
You know, something I'm sure like
back in those days they would have like Chicago would come around yearly.
Yeah.
It was like a given thing, you know.
How was that? Yearly.
Yeah. For those who can't see, I'm twirling my finger in the air because I'm an Italian guy. I talk with my hands. All right.
Look at you playing for our audio podcast. But it was such a nice experience because it was peaceful. The acoustics were outstanding. And, you know, I so preferred just the great guitar playing over his hits because, you know, he has a small handful of hits.
Right.
But although when he would do Broadway, the whole place would, you know, just erupt.
I took my sister to see Billy Idol at the height of his MTV 1980s fame.
Oh, that would be interesting.
And I did not want to go at all.
No, because he's
doing my parents a solid and taking my little sister to see Billy Idol. Well, let me tell you something. That was an incredible show. Today.
Really?
Yes. Steve Stevens it was raining.
Right.
So the
was that at the Garden State Arts Center?
Yeah, the stage was misty. So what do? They don't complain. Steve Stevens comes out in a giant long coat raincoat. Big yellow giant raincoat. Plays the whole concert with a raincoat on. And Billy Idol slipped and fell into the amps, and he got really mad and kicked everything over. So that was kind of rock and roll. That was kind of
That is very rock and roll.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually bought a T-shirt.
That's pretty cool.
That's how much fun I had.
What did Todd and I do? I think we did White Wedding in our band.
Yeah. The guitar stuff is clever as hell.
Yeah, easy. Thank God for me. But they
also
were wonderful.
Saw Ozzy. Last time I saw Ozzy was at PNC Bank.
Really?
Yeah.
Was he
Zach
able?
On guitar and he wasn't using auto tune or anything. He was doing his thing.
And he could sing.
Yeah. Great.
I was always incredulous about his vocal ability, but he could sing.
Yeah, even I think he was 70-something years old, and we had a fantastic time.
Well, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First and only time I ever saw Ozzy was at PNC Bank.
Yeah, I've never seen him. I saw Rick Springfield, pause, wait for it, twice.
All right, this podcast is over. We have no street cred whatsoever.
I'm getting fired. I'm going to get fired.
Did you see the Banana Splits too?
No.
Actually, that would have been a good concert.
That would have been.
Guys up there dancing around in costumes.
It would be fun. But no, so I was at Great Adventure, now called Six Flags, I guess.
They had some good shows.
They did. All right, so let me segue. But I saw him there, and I saw him at the Cap Center. my only commentary on that. First of all, he's like a perfectly good guitar player. He puts on a great rock and roll show, actually.
Yeah.
My commentary on that, but then I want to come back to Great Adventure.
How did you hear the music between all the girls screaming really loud?
That was my segue. Perfect. So at Great Adventure, it didn't matter because Great Adventure, the people going there are the same people who just happen to be in the park, right? But I went there with a college friend. Ironically, we thought this is going to be a hoot because we were already in a band playing. We thought, let's just go see Rick Springfield for the hell of it.
Right. It's going to suck, but we'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah. It was, you would think it was 1964 and the Beatles in the Ed Sullivan Theater.
They were going crazy.
I'm saying that my ears could have bled. The screaming was so loud. There was a woman in her...
Were undergarments being thrown on stage and shit?
That I don't know.
No?
It wouldn't surprise me, but there was a woman who, to my 20-year-old eyes looked like she was 45. She was probably 29,
Right.
But screaming with the young women. I mean, screaming. And who was the sunglasses at night guy? Was it Corey Hart or
Yeah,
Corey?
Corey Hart.
He opened and he wore his sunglasses.
He did.
And they screamed for him. It was sort of a smart combination. But what I'm thinking of coming back to, because it bookends it really nicely, I saw the Joe Perry Project at Great Adventure when I was maybe 16 or 17 years old. At the time, did not like it. I didn't appreciate it because they didn't play any songs I knew.
Yeah.
Like whatever the Aerosmith catalog was in 75, 76, if they played them, I didn't see them.
That's a great point. There's nothing worse than going to see a big famous band with lots of songs and lots of hits and to hear them do their new stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't want to name names, but I've been to a couple of shows. I'm like, when are they going to play their big hit?
Yeah, I know. And it's
I'm
a little
falling asleep over here.
Yeah, it's a little self-indulgent.
Yeah.
Of them, and I get it. Like if you're an artist, you're tired of playing that same song, but people are paying real money for tickets.
And then you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and they're big. Let's say, I don't know. This isn't the band. Let's just say it was the Romantics. And what I like about you is their huge hit.
Yeah.
They didn't play the goddamn hit. They even came back for 2 encores and didn't play the goddamn hit. And we're like,
wow,
what just happened here?
You know
I paid
what?
a lot of money to come see these guys.
Did I ever see them? I might have seen them. My Delaware band did one of their B-side songs. I forgot what it was.
Sleep, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did that one. I was once at Great Adventure and I saw Marshall Tucker Band when I was maybe 13 or 14. Every person there was tattooed and 6'10",
Except for Dave.
Yeah. And I'm a little kid and I'm getting crushed, literally. Right. And some like rednecky, cowboy hat wearing dude sees me in trouble. He reaches down, grabs my shoulders, picks my entire body up, and saves me from getting crushed. And it was like, as I was both thankful and I was completely emasculated, It was very funny.
My wife got into a big fist fight, drink throwing thing with a bunch of other people from our crew at a Nickelback show.
Oh, that's what I love about that?
I'm sitting there minding my own business, like sitting through the Nickelback show, like, when does and then all of a sudden there's like this fighting and drink throwing and hair pulling. And what the fuck is going on?
At Nickelback.
Yeah. It wasn't our fault. The other people got thrown out. But it got ugly.
Wow.
I got into fisticuffs at PNC Bank Art Center, a Nickelback show.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That's never going to ever happen.
No.
Fisticuffs, Dave.
Fisticuffs.
You're never going to hear that word on this show ever again.
No, we're not going to hear that again.
So you were talking about seeing bands at college and stuff. And, I mentioned the Providence Civic Center. When I saw Hart, my car broke down and it was the only car left in the parking lot and I couldn't get home. That was interesting. But I saw George Thorogood and Johnny Winter at the University of Rhode Island.
That would be a fun combination.
Johnny was opening for George.
Really?
Johnny comes out and, 1980s Johnny, he was still standing up. He wasn't a decrepit old man. And he was playing that little laser guitar, that Hondo thing with no headstock.
Right.
He absolutely destroyed. My brother and I went and we were like, who is this guy? Like, we didn't really know who
Yeah.
Johnny Winter was. I mean, we had heard of Johnny Winter, but boy, when we got done seeing him, we were like total fans right away. This guy's amazing. He was so good on slide and playing blues and everything, that when George Thorogood came out to play his
3
stuff,
songs.
his 3-chord,
Yeah.
Bad to the Bone stuff, we were bored. We left early.
I mean, he's a good
Johnny
guitar
was
player.
so amazing that he made
Yeah.
George Thorogood look boring.
Yeah. I saw him in '79. He opened for Foreigner
Mhm.
at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And as a little kid, 15 years old, I remember thinking that guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he is good, and we went there to see George Thorogood. We didn't really know Johnny Winter. But
Yeah.
after we saw Johnny Winter tear it up on slide and play his ass off, we're like, this guy doesn't even hold a candle to Johnny Winter. He should be opening up for Johnny Winter.
I know. Well, I also saw him at the most boring concert I've ever seen in my entire life. I've complained about this. I saw Ringo Starr in Atlantic City a couple of years ago.
Yeah, with his all-star band.
Yeah, and I hope Elliot's not listening, my buddy and my law partner who went with me. But it was the opposite of rock and roll, except there was Johnny was part of the band and Steve Luke.
No. It had to be his brother Edgar.
Oh, Edgar. I always
Winter,
confuse
because they
those two
played
guys.
Frankenstein. He had the keyboards and all that.
Yeah, it was Edgar,
That's
right?
his brother. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I know both guys, but I always conflate the names. And then we saw Lukather there, and he was amazing.
Yeah.
But
I
Ringo.
saw the all-star band. I don't remember the lineup, but I remember it was a decent show. It was good. There were a lot of old favorites and a lot of, familiar songs, which is always nice to hear at a concert. As I said, you don't want to hear the band's new record from side 1 all the way to the end of side 2.
Yeah, my thing is, if I'm going to a rock show, I don't want to hear a bunch of people in 4-prong walkers singing "We all live in a yellow submarine."
It's kind of depressing.
It's like it's something you would sing to your 4-year-old to put them to sleep. And I was actually angry as to how unrock and roll Ringo is when he's not connected to the Beatles.
Yeah.
I was literally angry.
But he's Ringo. I mean, that's the thing. He's there. Here he is in the flesh, right?
Yeah, and he looks better at 84 than I do at 60 or 61. But
So that brings to mind drummers, and I will segue into saying that one of the greatest concerts I ever saw was the Foo Fighters at Madison Square Garden.
Ooh.
With the then still killing it Taylor Hawkins on the drums. Phenomenal show.
He's got great energy, or he had great energy.
Incredible energy. The whole band was like tight, and the
Yeah.
light show was great, and Dave Grohl knows how to front the band, and he was just got everybody involved.
Yeah.
And that was a great concert too.
That would be a great concert. Now, I know you're not a gigantic Bruce fan.
Right.
But I would put him as probably just for me, the top currently living touring, rock musician out there in terms of showmanship and great concerts. I saw him most recently not this summer, but the summer before in Philly.
If you're a Bruce fan, you're all in. I mean, he's captivating as hell, right? He's still got a ton of energy. He's got a and
his voice is still pretty damn good. His voice
is holding up. Yeah.
And the backup band is just, oh my God, they're just so amazing.
So when you saw Bruce, what iteration of the band did you see? Max on drums, was Clarence playing sax or anything? Or
I've never seen them with Clarence.
Okay.
Now I will say this. So I saw them in Philly shortly after Clarence had passed, and I think for that whole tour, 10th Avenue Freeze Out, right? And there's that line when it says something,
big man blow the sax or something,
or the big something, and time something that changes were coming, and the big man joined the band, something like that, right? So we're in Philly, and that, by the way, Philly is as important to Bruce as New Jersey, because apparently DeBella and all those Philly FM stations supported him, so he's always had a real connection to Philly. So when he's there, it's as much of a homecoming for him as Jersey or New York. Right. And so for that concert, changes something, and the big men join the band. Normally you hear, you hear that little sax thing. For that show, the whole band just stops.
Oh man,
Dead
it's powerful.
silence. And all of a sudden
You're gonna
there's
cry, aren't you?
I am. And there's a
I can
roar.
tell.
Yeah. There's a roar from the crowd, and Bruce lets it persist.
Mm.
Everyone stands up, and it goes for
Did
like,
they put his picture on the screen or anything like that?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
And
cool.
and what I loved about it, I don't know Clarence. I don't know anything about him, but they have built this mythology around him as this wonderful, great guy. He probably is. I mean, I read the autobiography and all
Yeah.
that, but it almost doesn't matter because for everyone in that building, 25,000 people or whatever were there. We all feel like, he's part of our little Bruce family, right? So all of a sudden, everyone there is connected and cheering their love for this almost fictitious character,
Mm.
right? Because we don't know Clarence. He might have been a jerk. If you met him, he might have been a jerk to you. He probably wasn't.
I've
But you know what I
actually
mean?
heard good things about him.
Yeah, me too. But so everyone, I mean, it's probably 100 seconds, but it feels like it's 10 minutes.
Mhm.
But he lets it happen. And I've surfed the internet, and there's a few clips where they do that. It is so powerful.
Oh yeah.
And to have been in the middle of it, when you feel the energy of
Yeah.
tens of thousands of people, and it's
Especially when
all
those
love.
wounds are really fresh, like
Yeah,
you were there like pretty close to when he passed away.
yeah, and it was that moment might have been the most powerful moment I've ever
Mm,
seen in a stadium concert,
mm.
and it was so special. What a great way to do a tribute to the guy. Instead of Bruce saying anything about the guy, he just let the big man join the band, and everyone stands up, claps, and cheers and screams.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, and it's
And a nice tribute.
yeah, it's so powerful, you know.
Yeah, very cool. Um, I think I'm down to the last thing on my list here.
All
Oh,
right.
Van Halen at the Providence Civic Center. Now,
Ooh,
why is Van Halen at Providence Civic Center important? Well, it was the first tour with Sammy, for one thing.
okay.
Secondly, the now famous Live Without a Net video was filmed the day before in New Haven, Connecticut.
Which video is that?
It's a live show from the '80s with Sammy and
Okay.
it's any Van Halen knows Live Without a Net. It's like it's must watch TV, right?
Okay.
We broke my father's VCR playing that tape.
Right, right, right.
But rumor has it that some of the footage from in that video is a combination of the shows from New Haven,
New
they say.
Halen. I like that. New
They say
Halen.
that in the show, New Haven.
Yeah.
And the Providence show that I saw. The painting of the sneakers and Eddie doing his little by himself sitting on the stage with the original Frankenstrat with a
I
Kramer
love
neck on
that.
it, but nevertheless, still the original guitar, not that PV thing.
Yeah.
I'm a purist. I loved the guitar he made. He should have stuck with.
Yeah.
Steve Rosen alluded to that in his book that Van Halen should never hooked up with any guitar company. No disrespect to Kramer. He
Right.
should have just said, "This is what I built. This is the tone I made, and that's my guitar. And
Yeah.
I can't be bought." All right, PV, Kramer, whoever else, Ernie Ball, whoever's making
Yeah. And
Van
he
Halen
still would have
guitar.
died a rich man regardless,
He just should have stuck with that iconic guitar, And at some point, he just stopped playing that thing,
Yeah. That is a shame.
And but that's the '80s Eddie, full of energy. Now there were people in the crowd holding up signs, "No Dave, Dave sucks,"
All right, right.
and I was there like, "Show me why you're amazing. Show me why you
Yeah.
belong in Van Halen."
Right.
I was not having it, and from the very first song, he had me.
Yeah, I'm a big
Sammy's
Sammy
voice,
fan.
a early '80s Sammy voice was like, whew.
Yeah. And
He
and
was
you
hitting notes that I was like, "What is going on?"
and you know what else? It was nice to have a second guitar player. He's no Eddie, but he's a
Yeah.
solid guitar player. He's good.
Well, they did his one way to. There's only one way to rock was their opener, and
Yeah.
Van Halen put his spin on it, and then he had a backup guitar player playing the chords over the top of his leads, which sounded really great.
Oh, that is good. I saw him right before I saw Van Hagar. I saw a solo concert, and he started playing "I've Done Everything for You," and he introduces a song, "Everyone Boos," and he said, "No, no, no, that guy made me a lot of money."
I didn't know Sammy wrote that
Oh, yes, he did.
for,
Yeah,
Rick Springfield.
and his version sucks. Like, if you listen to them back, his version, I don't know how Springfield heard what that became when he decided, "Hey, I'm going to cover this
Mm,
song." Sammy's is fine, but it's like a throwaway. It's like a very flat song.
yeah.
And I know from having watched clips, I don't think Rick is doing any of the really fancy guitar work on it. He's doing the basic stuff. And I've seen clips of them playing it together, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, that's a Rick Springfield cover. Or sorry. Yeah, right. Wait,
Well,
no, let me get it right.
yeah.
No, it's Rick Springfield covered him. That's right. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. See, you learn a lot of things here on the Guitar Tales show.
You do. You do. And look at us. We've been going. Your list is done. My list, I didn't come up with a list. I'm pulling them off the top of my head.
Well, another thing about the Van Halen show was that at some point in the show, Sammy is in the rafters, like way, way up in the sky, without a belt or any safety harness, and he's
Really?
hanging off the rafters, singing the part of the early Van Halen song. I've been to the edge and I stood and looked down. Saw a lot of friends there, baby. And he's literally hanging. I thought he was
Wow.
going to die.
Was that when he had like the headphone
Yes, he had
microphone?
the mic.
Yeah.
They're all running around the stage like nuts. Mike
Yeah.
Anthony's bass solo was ridiculous, but I loved it anyway. Alex Van Halen's drums, I was disappointing the fact that he was using electronic drums in part of his kit,
Oh wow.
which is
Yeah.
really kind of
He's become a pretty bitter guy.
But he had this,
Yeah.
he still had the gigantic drum set with the fire extinguishers and shit on it.
Yeah.
But the real star of the show was Edward, of course.
Yeah.
Just bringing it. He was spot on. He was on fire, running around the stage like a child.
That's what it is. He had such a childlike joy.
And if you read Steve Rosen's book, you know that he was reinvigorated when he got Sammy back in the band. Like all of a
Right.
sudden, it was like this creativity came out of him, and he felt like whole again, and he wanted to perform again, and and it was healthy for him. And they made a lot of good music.
They did. They did. And I think each guy was like, the same quantity of albums and stuff. And I think Sammy always likes to point out he had more hits than David Lee Roth or something like that.
I think the band as a whole got really creative. I mean, Eddie
Yeah.
was doing like crazy stuff with
He started playing keyboards.
keys, and then he had another guitar that would, when you pull up on the whammy bar, it would stay in tune, but it would be in another key.
Oh, really?
I think he used it for Summer Nights, but he had a lot of tricks up his sleeve. They weren't doing Pound Cake yet; that was too early.
Right.
But that just goes to show you that he was still inventing ideas and sounds and different things. He
Yeah.
was very inspired by having Sammy in the band.
No, it was good. I think
Vocally, they were doing 3-part harmonies and stuff. With
I know. Yeah.
Mike Anthony hitting the high part, and Van Halen was singing.
Yeah.
The only one that wasn't singing was Alex, I think.
Yeah. I don't think he sang at all. But that's a nice capper to our list.
But that was a really, really good show.
Yeah.
And it's captured on video forever. And every time I watch Live Without a Net, I said, it's exactly the same show.
Oh, that's super cool.
All the bits they did, the set list is the same, and they still have that energy.
Oh, that's very good.
And my brother got to go with me, which was really great.
Oh, that is really great.
He'll always remember
Yeah.
that his big brother took him to see Van Halen. And my brother's a certified Van Halen nut to this day.
Oh, really?
Oh, his whole basement's all tricked out with red and white stripes and stuff.
Oh, I love that.
Bo, you're on fire tonight.
I am. Well, yeah. I've got my daughter's dog here, and they like to fight with each other, and they're fighting right now.
So to wrap up the show, let's call attention. We still have a merch shop.
I want another mug. I think I might get
We got
another
the
mug.
Life is Short mug with the Guitar
Yeah.
Tales logo on the time. We got Life is Short tees and a whole bunch of other cool stuff, Guitar Tales stuff. And what else can I say? We got a couple of new shows coming up.
We do.
Yes.
I mean, I love the fact that at this point we actually have, managers contacting us for
Yeah.
their talent. So I'm flattered
Which
by
takes
that. Our
the-
little show. Yeah.
Takes the heat off of me to cold contact somebody through Instagram. Like they're like, this is bullshit. I'm not answering that. Or,
Yeah.
whoever's running their social media is just going to ignore it and delete it.
Yeah.
Right.
Bo agrees.
1 bark for no, 2 barks for yes.
There's a bunch of barks. All right, guys, come on. No barks.
And it's 57 minutes and 32 seconds.
Yes. I think we can keep these barks in here. The dogs are like, we've had enough.
It's crazy. They're going nuts. Let's end the show.
Oh, my God. I'm going to put them on camera. Hang on. Look at this. Look at this.
The 2 demons. That other dog's quiet as
Look
a
at this.
mouse.
Look at he's showing his teeth.
Oh, shit. He's mad.
It's all fun, though. He's not really mad. It's just how he acts. He tries to act like a tough guy. He's not.
All right. Weedles is going to take us out. Johnny Compton has Weedles, everybody, because Halloween's
love
coming up
that.
and Johnny's dressed up in his little costume.
I love that costume.
Happy
All right.
Halloween, everybody. We got some more shows coming up. Guitar Tales. See you later, everybody. Go to the concert. Support live
Hey!
music.
How's it going? This is Weedles from Hair Supply. You're watching Guitar Tales with Diamond Dave Cohen and the legend, the guitar Mrs. Scott Engel. Get some.